Now, for our book slot this morning, we focus on something a little different. When last did you read a comic book well, any comic book? Well, our next guest has created a three-part comic book series in isiZulu. Illustrator Siya Masuku wants to help children and adults learn to read in their mother tongue. He's released the third installment in May this year and is called Ulanga. Siya joins me now in the studio. Siya, how are you?
I'm on yourself, Tony.
I'm very good, thanks. Firstly, though, you give us a bit of about your background. You're a graphic designer, and you've won some awards before in the past.
Sure. So I studied graphic design, and well, art has been part of my thing from a young age. And sort of having this discussion with my mother, I think it was circa 2015, about the shortage of books that are going into the township schools. I felt it's something I could do something about. But really, it was meant to be a stint, just do a book and donate it to the school.
Yeah. And
it took off, and people kind of liked the first installment, Siyafunda isiZulu, and we found ways to do more books from there.
Okay. This is your third installment now that I'm actually holding up now, Ulanga. Now, it's very graphic. First, let's talk about the fact that, you know, when you go through your books, besides the fact that, you know, it's written in isiZulu, it's very graphic. Is that intentional?
To a degree, yes. I feel we can get to a point where the illustrations tell the story and not the words. And before we even get there, the illustration can actually support the word. So for non-isiZulu speakers, they can see what the word means just by looking at the image.
Okay. And when you go through, you know, we went through this book, and the story that you're telling is it's a very basic story, but what are you trying to illustrate here? Are you looking for just your modern-day African heroes?
I would say that, yes. I think we're used to the archetype of the American superhero, so to speak, with the cape, and they fly with or without the cape. And I think that's good. And I think that's good. We need those sort of heroes, but we also shouldn't miss out on the heroes, the everyday sort of guy who helps ugogo ma lady across the street, or the blind people with simple things. So I think these are the heroes we're trying to portray at Siyafunda at the moment, someone whom we can easily relate to.
Yeah. And what's been the response so far?
Well, it's been pretty cool, actually. Yeah. Look, we're launching on May 12th, Ulanga. Unjabula we launched last year, and Unjabula was received very well. The kids just love the fact that they could identify with a township kid who wants to build spaceships and go to space. Yeah. And Unjabula was also featured in this one as well. Yeah, he's featured here as well. Yeah. He's exchanging notes with Ulanga.
Yeah. I can see your face brightens up when you talk about the books. But you're self-published. Tell me how difficult it is, and how did you end up being self-published? Did you get a negative reaction from some of these major publishers?
I wouldn't say I got negative reactions that led me to self-publish, but self-publishing it's always been something I've wanted to do, purely because I wanted to make the content the way I want to make the content, and distribute it the way I feel I want to get it distributed. And part of that is being sort of what's the word, adamant about writing in my mother tongue, and obviously if we have the opportunity to translate it in other languages in future. But the difficulties really have just been on the ground, getting reaching the people physically. I think digitally we're doing okay. I mean, we are easily accessible on social media, through our website, Siyafunda Online. It's just really getting to the people physically. That's been our difficulty. And obviously access to funding. So if anyone is watching this and saying, and they love the work we're doing, funding is a very big thing for us.
Yeah, it must be. Is this now your full-time job?
It is. It always has been since I started, Okay,
because I'm looking at your graphic design side, because at some point you designed a beautiful Zulu alphabet using 25 lively animals. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the one was Look, I had something like 50 animals in the beginning, and then I had to narrow it down to the alphabet, right? But even that, it was like you wanna put a tiger in there, but what is a tiger in isiZulu?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
And we need to contextualize that, because in history, I mean, there were no tigers roaming around Kwanongoma, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it's all those tricky things that I got into, but it was also fun. I learned so much about the language. I learned so much about how books can actually be made. And Siyafunda isiZulu, so you could say it takes from the nonsense poem, the Jabberwocky poem. So it's like making fun sentences using alliteration and assonance to teach pronunciation.
Yeah. And just how important is it for you? Because in schools now, most of these kids are speaking English. It's now, I mean, it's just a worldwide phenomenon now. And you are writing in your mother tongue. How important is that? And do you think we're kind of losing that a little bit now?
I think it's good that the kids are learning in English. English is, like all languages, is a powerful tool. We're communicating with it right now. But it's also important that the children start at ECD level, early education level. They start with their native language to learn. They are less likely to drop out of school by doing that, and they are less likely to fail. So we need to encourage that. I mean, let them do what they need to do at school, and then at home we need to be enforcing them to learn their mother tongue.
All right, fantastic stuff. So, yeah, good talking to you. So the new edition, or the latest book that's launching this coming May, Ulanga. That's the one.
Yep.
Fantastic stuff.
Thank you, Tony.
All right. Siya Masuku, the illustrator and also an author of this fantastic series for young kids. Stay with us. You're watching more